far beyond Earth, Mars, and the mighty gas giants. Within a region known as the Kuiper Belt hides the small, icy world, Pluto, and its 5 moons. Once considered the 9th and most distant planet in the solar system, Pluto was discovered by the American astronomer Clyde Tombaugh in February 1930. For more than 70 years, Pluto was categorized as one of the main planets, but in 2006, the distant, icy world was reclassified as a dwarf planet, a change that attracted controversy and still stirs debate even today. For decades after its discovery, very little was known about Pluto, and because of its enormous distance from the Sun, it was largely thought of as a lifeless rock lurking at the edge of the solar system. But in July 2015, after nearly 10 years of travelling through the darkness of space, an incredible spacecraft called New Horizons changed our view of Pluto forever. Before New Horizons arrived at Pluto, this was one of the best photos we had of the dwarf planet, a pixelated blob that was taken by the Hubble Space Telescope in 1996. New Horizons' historic flyby, on the other hand, was able to capture thousands of high-resolution, close-up images, revealing a complex, evolving world unlike any other in the solar system. The spacecraft collected 6.25 gigabytes of data during its brief encounter with Pluto, a download that took over 15 months to officially complete. And it's because of this extraordinary data that scientists now have a much broader understanding of this mysterious world, giving us the chance to explore some of Pluto's fascinating surface features like never before. The study of Pluto revealed a colourful but complex world that is covered in tall, icy mountain chains, deep chasms, overlapping craters, and vast, almost featureless plains. A small jewel of astonishing beauty. One of the largest and most spectacular features on Pluto is the iconic heart. Named Tombaugh Regio, the bright area consists of 2 very different sides. The eastern lobe is a chaotic mountain range that is made of water ice frozen harder than granite, whereas the western lobe is a fairly flat nitrogen ice plain that is believed to be a gigantic ancient impact crater. This region of the heart is called Sputnik Planitia and was possibly created by a massive object 1,200 miles wide, which is 1,930 kilometers wide. It is thought that over hundreds of thousands of years, the impact basin slowly filled with vast amounts of soft but frozen nitrogen ice via glacial flows. But the most surprising part of Sputnik Planitia is the strange textures and deep crevasses that separate the plain. These repeating patterns suggest that below the thick ice a process known as convection is occurring, which happens when fluid is warmed unevenly, meaning that something deep within Pluto is warmer than the surface and is causing this gigantic sea of frozen nitrogen to slowly churn, possibly concealing a slushy water ocean. Towards the south of Pluto's magnificent heart is another bizarre feature that has been named Right Mons and is an enormous cryovolcano. Unlike volcanoes we see on Earth, Right Mons once erupted melted volatiles such as water and ammonia onto Pluto's frigid surface, instead of hot magma. The giant ice volcano measures about 90 miles across, which is 145 kilometers across, and is 2.5 miles high, which is 4 kilometers high, making it the largest feature of its kind ever discovered in the outer solar system. One of the more perplexing things about Right Mons is that there is only one identified impact crater on its slopes, indicating that this mighty cryovolcano must have formed relatively recently. Along the western margins of Sputnik Planitia, just above the Right Mons cryovolcano, is Pluto's highest and steepest mountain range, an area that has been named Tenzing Montes. These ginormous, icy peaks tower 3.9 miles or 6.2 kilometers above the surface and have a mean slope of 19.2 degrees. Although most of Pluto is covered in methane and nitrogen ice, to create big mountains like these requires a much stronger material, and so Tenzing Montes are most likely made of frozen water, because at these frigid temperatures, water ice behaves more like rock. Like other large features on Pluto, these tall peaks are fairly young, likely shaping no more than 100 million years ago, and they may even still be in the process of forming. One of the more striking and obvious features on Pluto is the massive red patch that stretches around its equator. This bizarre but beautiful region has been named Cthulhu Macula and is made up of a varied landscape of flat plains, scarps, mountains, and craters. The enormous patch is roughly 1,860 miles long, which is 2,990 kilometers long, and is the darkest, largest feature on the dwarf planet. Cthulhu Macula is also pockmarked with craters, suggesting that it is billions of years old, much older than the craterless heart feature that we have already explored. The reason this bizarre region of Pluto is a deep red colour isn't fully understood, but it's likely a result of methane and nitrogen in Pluto's thin atmosphere interacting with the sun's ultraviolet light, creating organic particles known as tholins. Another gigantic feature is a spectacular canyon that stretches more than 1,000 miles or 1,600 kilometers across. But this deep geological scar isn't on Pluto. Instead, it is on the dwarf planet's mighty moon, Charon. At over half the diameter of Pluto, Charon is the largest natural satellite relative to its planet in the solar system. The gigantic chasm is at least 4 times longer than Arizona's Grand Canyon, and twice as deep in certain areas. It spans from one side of the giant moon to the other, and was likely caused by a violent geological event. However, what that event was, or how it occurred, is still a mystery. To the Romans, Pluto was the god of the underworld. To us, it is a complex, frozen object billions of miles away that has captured the imaginations and interests of millions. Many still consider Pluto the 9th planet and denounce the dwarf planet title that has been placed upon it. But regardless of its planetary status, Pluto is by far the solar system's bright pearl, a small but mighty world that boasts some of the greatest geological features ever discovered.